Everyone you trust has been replaced by illusions. They are trying to get to you.
I cannot do this yet. Hail.
They are coming.
Hi guys, I have some good news and I have some bad news for you. So, let's lead with the bad news. Spectre Helix is dead. Admittedly, again, it did die once at 91, but the actually leveled and geared version of it at 97 is also dead. The even worse news is that it happened off stream, so I sadly do not have a rip clip for you, as I know y'all crave the death and dying and unhappy content. But I died while not recording and not streaming, so I don't have that for you. I'm sorry. It was a T16 map. I was doing a Brutus, the tower boss, the Brutus Chevron, and I did a ritual. The ritual gave him power charges. The map, I believe, had turbo. His slam came out really fast, and I did not dodge it in time, so I died. But that aside, build got a lot done. It did some bossing, it did some mapping, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed putting it together, but I don't really want to go about doing it for a third time, as it is very difficult and, as you can see from my stash, rather expensive to get the breach chest piece for it. So I've gone for a build that's kind of equally expensive and convoluted, but still really, really interesting, and I'm super excited about this character. That's the good news. I have another build here that I am really, really, really excited in, that I've been enjoying a ton. This, and I'm going to sound like I'm talking from the past here, is Molten Strike Juggernaut. It's actually working really, really well, and it's because I have diverged entirely from the way it was previously built. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm taking credit for the ideas at play here. I have made some adjustments in order to try and fit this build into a hardcore setting, but one of my moderators, Prism, was the one who pointed me in the direction of the build in the first place, sent me a couple of path of buildings, for various different states of budget, and got me interested in the character. So I certainly haven't innovated all the different tools at work on this character, but let me go into how it works. There is also going to be some map clearing footage. I have only made it up to T10s and 11s and 12s in this character right now, as I just got to maps on it yesterday. So I'm, it did zoom. Within a couple days, I'm already level 91. The character's very quick. But it will be maybe another day or two before I'm doing T16s with it and bosses and such. But I think I'll be able to get there. The scaling seems to be in place. So let's talk about that scaling. This is specifically in accuracy stacking, flat lightning for the most part, Juggernaut Molten Strike build. That's a bit of a mouthful. And the way we go about that is we pick up Juggernaut in order to get the 1% attack speed per 150 accuracy. We get Obscurantis for 1% proj attack damage, which scales the orbs from the Molten Strike per 200 accuracy. Oscarm for 2% attack crit per 200 accuracy, and the big llama, the Storm Rider boots, which give 1 to 6 added attack lightning damage per 200 accuracy, as well as shrinking your accuracy rating, but the amount of flat damage that they give in return more than compensates for that. The accuracy I'm currently rocking is about 25,000. There are variants of this build that can push 40,000 plus, so that is one place in which I can scale quite a bit more damage. As well as that, I am still missing the correct helmet enchant. Herald of Ice Reduced Reserved is not exactly optimal on a Molten Strike build. You want the extra proj enchant. I don't have a base crit chest piece or a plus curse chest piece. I do have a couple decent pieces of gear. I just finished a rather nice claw. Because we have so much flat LE, we just want things like high attack speed, high crit multi, maybe some pen, which we have crafted on here, and then the flat cold on the claw, plus Herald of Ice, and I believe I have a flat cold roll on like a jewel or two, allows me to run Trinity, because the range on the damage on Storm Rider boots is really, really wide. Sometimes we low roll on the lightning. And whenever we low roll on the lightning, the flat cold on the weapon plus Herald of Ice is enough that that hit does more cold than it does lightning, which then empowers Trinity to give us resonance of every LE type, which allows us to max resonance and use Trinity as a very effective damage gem. We're also using Woke Ancestral Call to help with mapping. This costed me a pittance of 40 chaos. So that's rather nice. We get to use an underused Woke gem and get a big spike in power and additional strike for relatively cheap. Using Conk Effect, which clusters the meatballs, or the orbs from the Molten Strike closer together, which is very nice for single target, and honestly barely even affects the clear, so I just leave it in. You could swap if you wanted to. Nightblade, because this, despite being a Juggernaut, is a dodge build. We path all the way over here and get Acro Phase Acro. We pretend to be a Marauder. We ostensibly start at Marauder, but we're really just trying to be a Raider. The biggest reason we go Juggernaut is undeniable. The rest of what we pick up is defense and utility, going for unrelenting, unflinching, and unstoppable. So this character is stun immune, freeze immune, temp chains immune-ish. One of the things that we make use of with unstoppable, and I am jumping around here, there's a lot of concepts to cover, is Nature's Patience. Since in boss fights I am fairly often stationary, the Grasping Vines that we gain here are a great source of both mitigation and damage, and Juggernaut means that unless we're at really high vine counts, we don't really notice the slow, so it doesn't hurt the clear almost at all. It's basically entirely unnoticeable, and in boss fights it is a great source of damage and defense. As far as other important things, we pick up as many accuracy notables as we can on the tree. We path past Eagle Eye, we path past Weathered Hunter, we get Acuity. Currently I'm anointing Depth Perception, though I may very well change that to Tribal Fury for some better clear. And Tribal Fury would allow me to swap out of... ideally it would allow me to swap out of, like... I guess add accuracy support? No, Woke Ancestral Call, that's the one, yes. I got confused there for a moment. It would let me swap out of Woke Ancestral Call for slower proj. I would just need a white socket to do so, which is where the confusion was coming from in my brain, because I'm like, I can't swap a red for a green. But no, if I got a white socket on the chest piece, or ideally a better chest piece than this one, because this one's pretty basic, I would be able to then swap into slower proj, and proj speed actually increases the spread of Molten Strike's projectiles. So slower proj does the opposite to increasing proj speed, meaning it pulls them together, which means even more hits on a single target. You can get like 80 to 90% of your hits to land, even on smaller bosses, with slower proj and Conk Effect. It's very effective. So the end result is we get a pretty darn effective character, using Molten Strike, of all things, which is like the poster child of Omega LOL meme skill that will never work and GGG continues nerfing. But this character is actually really effective so far. I'm on relatively budget gear. I say relatively budget because I've probably expended somewhere between 10 and 12x at this point, which is not super budget, but is also not in the stratosphere of expensive just yet. Though if you want to, you can go to the stratosphere with this kind of build, because we can do things like min-maxing for life, accuracy, double crit multi-jewels. We can go for, you know, a better weapon than this in theory. We can get flat accuracy prefix on top of all these mods, and some of them aren't T1. You know, I can go for a base crit additional curse chest piece. I can go for double corrupted gloves. I can go for all sorts of things. You get the picture. You know, even strength on the belt would equate to some accuracy because the ascendancy. The rings could both be better. They could be vermilion or opal rings or something like that. There's so much room to scale, +2 Molten Strike enchant, as I mentioned earlier, from here. So I'm really excited about that, but if you do want to get in on the ground floor, it's honestly not that hard to get it running and zooming through early red maps, high yellows, that sort of thing, and get the budget going for the build from there. So yeah, with that said, I'm sure there's some things that I missed, but I will have follow-up videos to this character, and of course, if you have any questions, you can ask them in the description below, or in the comments below. I'm going to go ahead and clear a map here, and I will shut up and go away while I do that. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one, guys.